How are you guys doing? Woo. You guys ready for this? Yeah. This is going to be amazing. Welcome to Nutrition 101, getting back to basics, the path to nourishment. In this next time here tonight, we hope to inspire you and empower you to grab a hold of nutrition from a different avenue, to understand it better. I think that over the last 50 years, we've messed it up real bad. So hopefully what we can do is kind of get back to the fundamentals of nutrition. I think when you look at nutrition, there is a whole host of avenues that you can get in. If you Google best nutrition plan, best diet, you get thousands and thousands of things, yeah? Here's what we believe, that there are fundamental principles of nutrition that you should follow. There is not one diet for anybody. There's not one eating for anybody. But there are fundamental principles of food that we believe that everybody should follow because it's congruent to how the body works. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So when you look at what we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to hopefully simplify this down. Not make it easy, but simplify it so that we can make this thing efficient. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the goal with nutrition overall, a lot of times I don't even really like the word diet, right? Because it's just a negative connotation. People don't do well on diets. It's not a sustainable thing. Yeah. Exactly, it's not sustainable for lifelong. So we want to be able to teach these principles that you can implement into your life to create sustainable habits that you have and to create a healthy relationship with food overall.
I think when you break this thing down, here's what we'd like to understand is that when it comes to us teaching nutrition, right, every workshop that we host in the office, the fundamental is the same. It's how can we help to get your body to heal and function at its highest ability. So with food, everything you're going to learn tonight isn't to teach you how to get a six-pack abs. It's not to teach you how to do anything other than how do you fuel your body with food that's going to allow it to work and function better. Does that make sense? Like everything comes down to how do you allow the body the best possible chance, the best efficiency to work at its absolute easiest and best capacity. Does that make sense? And what we all know is there are foods that you put in your body that make it more difficult, that your body has to fight, and there are foods that fuel it for success. Fair? Mm-hmm. So tonight, the whole premise is to get back there because I can tell you that if you guys have been to most of our classes before, you understand that like we didn't grow up eating this way at all. Like I grew up in a family that was your standard American diet. I grew up where we grew up on like literally Pop-Tarts, corn dogs for breakfast. Like it was, I mean, you name it, like we lived it. We ate fast food 5 days a week. I came from a single parent home and we just ate what was available. And the only vegetable I had came out of a can. And you know something, I understand it. Like when I was in 8th grade, I weighed 200 pounds. Like, but I didn't know any better. I didn't know that that was wrong because that's how I was raised and that's just the culture that I was raised in. Does that make sense? Like when you're in a bubble and everything is that way, that's all you know. So until I had a paradigm shift, that's what I thought normal was. And I think things can be common around us, but they're not normal. So hopefully tonight, the things that we go over creates a paradigm shift for you, and you take some of this, whatever it is that you learn tonight, and you apply it into your life, and you, ideally take this to somebody who doesn't understand it and help them as well. Does that make sense? We're gonna pass the torch, essentially. Cool? Okay, so, diving in.
So we're gonna, by this, we're gonna be talking about 3 major things we're gonna change based off of the 3 major dangers that are in our food supply today. So number 1, sugars, number 2, fats, and number 3, toxins. So we're gonna start off with sugars, and sugar, I think most people understand this, but Americans are absolutely addicted to sugar. And I think sometimes people don't maybe understand how much sugar they're actually consuming or the detrimental effects that sugar has on our body. So I'm gonna go over that in a little bit. What do you guys think is like a very common source of sugar? Chocolate. Yes, chocolate, candies, that's a good one. Cereals. Soda. What about something we drink? Soda. Yeah, soda. So I was researching, the average American consumes 55 gallons of soda per year. Just like one person. I was like, wait, that's one person?
How many pounds of sugar is that? I don't want to know.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I can't honestly believe that people still drink that stuff knowing how bad it is. And it's actually really cool. We're gonna talk about this a little bit. There's so many alternatives to soda now that actually like taste just as good. So we'll talk about that in a little bit too, but it's just crazy like how much sugar we're consuming as Americans. And a lot of times people will say, oh yeah, sugar comes from candies or soda, but there's another place that it comes from. What's another one the sugar comes from? Carbs and starch and bread, right? So any type of grain. So you have a, what's it called? An enzyme in your mouth that is released within 4 seconds of you putting a grain in your mouth that actually turns that into sugar in your body. And a lot of times people think that grains, so this is a huge myth, but a myth is you need 5 to 8 servings of grains every day in your diet. When actually, the truth is, vegetables can actually give you the amount of carbohydrates that you need. We don't actually need grains to survive. And people think we need like the whole healthy grains. Even the whole healthy grains can turn into sugar in your body. So, and the problem is we're consuming this on a regular basis. What's the typical American have for breakfast? Cereal, toast, bagel, you name it, right? And then for a snack, when we have like a Nutri-Grain bar. For lunch, we're gonna have what? Sandwich, thank you. More sugar, right? And then for dinner, pizza, pasta, bread, whatever it is, right? So it's sugar in every single meal that we're consuming. So people will be like, oh yeah, I don't really have like a sweet tooth. I don't have a lot of sugar. Another sign of having a sugar addiction is maybe eating like a cracker or bread at night, right? That's something that your body's saying you have that sugar addiction. So being aware of that. One of the reasons why sugar is so bad is because it creates inflammation in our body. So not only does it cause, it's the #1 cause for diabetes and obesity in this country, but it also creates inflammation in our body systemically, which can lead to other diseases as well. Organ failure, there's a whole list of things. Increased acidity in the body, which actually can lead to things like cancer, which we have a huge issue with right now. Hormonal, metabolic imbalances, heart disease. Sugar is actually considered an anti-nutrient. So it's gonna take away from the nutrients that you're already consuming. So overall, I wanted to read you guys this because we've actually known how detrimental sugar is. We've known this for a very long time, and that sugar actually can cause things like cancer. We used to say that sugar feeds cancer, but it actually can cause cancer. So I want to read you guys this quote from the Nobel Prize winner in 1931. It says, cancer, above all other diseases, has countless secondary causes, but even for cancer, there is only one prime cause. Summarized in a few words, the prime cause of cancer is the replacement of the respiration of oxygen in a normal body cell by fermentation of sugar. So this is something that we have known since 1931. Why do you guys think it's continuing to be put in our food supply? Because it's addictive. Exactly. Yep, exactly. You hit it. Because they'll be able to sell more because we love it so much, right? And we'll keep buying it if it tastes good. So just being aware that sugar is absolutely detrimental to our health. Do you guys think if we were to cut out some of the grains in our diet that we would feel a little bit better, that it would change our life moving forward a little bit? Yeah, absolutely. So inflammation, this is why I was talking about how inflammation is so bad in your body. So things that can cause inflammation are sugar, damaged fats, which we'll talk about in a minute, and then toxins as well. So is there anything worse than sugar? You guys might think not after I just like destroyed sugar there, but actually there is. So chemical sugar, which is basically what things like Splenda are. And I actually looked up the chemical like structure of Splenda because I was just curious about it. This is what the name is, just so you guys know. So people think that they're doing themselves a favor by having like low sugar or no sugar or whatever it is, but if there's Splenda in it, you're actually putting chemicals in your body that your body doesn't know how to break down, and it can be very detrimental for your body.
Something funny. We always talk about like you pass this on to your next kids, right? You pass this on to the next generation. We went out for a brunch this weekend. You know, and they have the little thing on the table with all the stuff in there. And my son's 1.5, and he goes to pick it up and goes, yeah. Like, we've taught him, yeah, on the 1.5, he knows, yeah.
So we do like things sweet, and there fortunately is a lot of really healthy natural sweeteners that can be used. So stevia and monk fruit are a really good replacement. I did want to mention one thing. If you do have some type of disease like heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you're trying to lose weight, grains is something, or sugar is something that you have to completely cut out of your diet. That's going to help you get to where you need to be. If you don't have a disease process going on, then you can implement certain sugars. So stevia is okay, but things like more natural sweeteners like maple syrup or raw local honey is a good one. You just don't want to be having these on a regular basis. So what's the word? I'm totally blanking on words today.
Moderation.
Moderation, thank you. Moderation, just because those things still spike your blood sugar. So if you're eating them constantly, can cause issues too.
Can I add one more thing too?
Absolutely.
When it comes to like the fake sweeteners like Splenda and those things, I was just curious. So I was looking at the baggies. If you look at the baggies and you go to the ingredients, does anybody know there's an ingredient that you'll find in almost all of them? And this thing that starts with an A.
Oh, aspartame.
There's a thing called aspartame in it. If you're not familiar with aspartame, aspartame is clinically named a neurotoxin. What that means is that aspartame can pass through your blood-brain barrier and literally eat away at brain cells. So there's links now to high amounts of aspartame and things like Alzheimer's and dementia and Parkinson's and like literally eating the brain away. And if you pay attention, they stick aspartame in a lot of stuff. A big one is your gums and mints. Go to the gum aisle, okay? This is the homework for you. Look at Orbits and all the different gums. Look for a gum that doesn't have aspartame and I'll give you $1. Like, it's crazy how they sneak this stuff everywhere, okay? So watch for that stuff. That's one ingredient you really gotta watch out for. There are healthy gums and there are healthy alternatives. So we can like walk through some of that stuff too with you guys. Fat makes you fat. Who's heard that before? Yeah? And then, when it comes to this is probably one of the things that I get so passionate about is the misconception of fat. Because, does anybody know where this started? Like why we started to believe that fat makes you fat? So over the years, we've kind of teetered back and forth on this. In 1950s, there's a gentleman named Ansel Keys, okay? Ansel Keys came out and he said that if you eat fat, that will make you fat, and if you eat fat, that leads to heart attacks and strokes, okay? So they went out and then the big FDA and everything said, oh, we're gonna take fat out of everything. And from that time, you've seen the big craze went to low fat, no fat, and you saw that in milk, you saw that everywhere. And if you also dig deep enough, you'll see trends where the moment that happened, the rates of obesity did what? Guess what happened to the rates of a heart attack and stroke? Guess what happened to the rates of cardiovascular disease? Significantly increases, but we didn't look at any of that stuff because it was making more money. It was another way that we could process dairy, we could process foods to put more sugar in it, to take out healthy fat. We've demonized fat so much. And here's what's crazy. If fat was so bad for you, here's my question. Did you know that a woman's breast milk, 24% of a woman's breast milk is saturated fat? If it was so toxic for you, why would God make that the first thing a baby drinks when they're their first year of life? The time where they're neurologically developing the most, that's what's in their body. You know that colostrum, right? You've heard of colostrum inside breast milk. A majority of that is saturated fat. 60% of your brain is fat. every cell, every hormone in your body is produced from fat. Like, fat is such an essential thing for our bodies, but we've been taught so wrong that it's so bad for us, and we've been taught all these negative things. So when you look at fat overall, I think there are good fats, and I do think there are bad fats. Okay? Did you know that there was an era where we switched to trans fats? You guys remember that? The era of trans fats. Did you know that when we switched to the era of trans fats, that there was an increase, I think it was 228,000 heart attacks extra started happening per year when we went to trans fats. That's things like margarine, things like synthetic butters. I can't believe it's not butter, because it's not. Like, if you look at margarine, it's like a couple chemicals away from plastic. Like, it's absolutely insane. But you look at these hydrogenated oil, like cottonseed oil, soybean oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, all of these oils that we cook with because they're cheap and you get them in gallon buckets, they're rancid oils. What that means is that the moment you put it in your body, it becomes extremely toxic to you. But it's cheap, so we cook with it because it's easy, right?
Well, and it says vegetables on it.
Oh God, yeah. that must be healthy, right? So you look at some of these things, so a lot of these vegetable oils, canola oil, corn oil, you want to really look for these in boxed foods. When you're going through the ingredient list, look for these kinds of oils. They will sneak these oils. Another one that's not up there, I don't think I put it up there, another one is safflower oil, okay? You'll see these oils snuck into foods. It breaks my heart. We go to Costco and there's like all these organic things, you know? But then you look at it and it's like canola oil, safflower oil. You're like, oh God, you ruined it.
Well, my favorite is may contain
canola
or
yeah.
corn.
It's like those commercials. May cause.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
More trouble.
Yeah, I know. You may lose your left leg, but it's crazy, right? So it's like, it may. So here's what you look at. There are good fats that feed your body. These are processed. These are man-made things. So I'll tell you this, the majority, when you look at nutrition, I was talking about this earlier, if I had to summarize nutrition across the board, things that come from God and the earth are going to be good for your body. Things that man-made in a lab are going to be bad for your body. Is that fair? Yeah. So if it's man-made, don't eat it. If it comes from the earth and God, you eat it. It's that simple. You can really break it down and make this very, very easy. But all these things are chemically made inside of a lab. All of these things come from the earth. So you look at this, extra virgin olive oil is phenomenal, good, healthy fat for your body. But I would tell you this, I'm going to give you guys a lot of information really fast. Olive oil is an oil that cannot be heated. Repeat that. You don't heat olive oil. You cook with it or you use it at room temperature like dressings and things like that. When you heat olive oil, it can turn rancid. Okay? There are oils that are good at high temperature like avocado oil and coconut oil and grapeseed oil. These oils you can heat up to like 400 to 500 degrees. And in fact, it's funny, I just saw this the other day. If you go to Costco, they have the big like jug of avocado oil. Anybody ever wonder why, if you look on the very front of it, it literally says 500 degrees? You ever seen that before? It says it on there because you know it's a high heat oil. You can heat it in an oven to high degrees and you'll be okay. So those are good oils. Things like avocados. You know, avocado has more magnesium than almost any other. It's one of the highest magnesium containing. No, it's a fruit, right? It has seeds. There you go. Yeah. You look at raw nuts. So raw nuts and seeds. Why do we want raw nuts, not roasted nuts? Anybody?
The oil.
Well, the oil, yeah. They'll throw oil in there. That's one thing. Also, when you heat up something from nature, when you heat it up too much, you can denature the protein structure, and it becomes rancid. So a lot of roasted nuts, they high heat these, and then it becomes denatured anymore. So now they become not good for your body. So now I have, look at like the jar of that peanuts thing, right? Whatever it is, Mr. Peanuts. Look at the ingredients. It should say peanuts.
Yeah.
Look at the other 100 things that are in there. It'll blow you away. You look at real butter. Raw butter is ideal. Grass-fed butter is good. Raw cheese and yogurt. And when you come to yogurts and dairies, you want full fat. This is like, you want whole milk. You want all of the goodness in there, because if it's coming from an organic whole source, it has tons of good properties for your body. You're gonna fuel all of your hormones. You're gonna fuel the fat cells in your body in a good way, okay? So you wanna make sure you're getting those. Fatty fish are good, like wild salmon, sardines, stuff like this. These are good, healthy fats that are gonna fuel the body. you guys have probably heard of the ketogenic diet, right? The keto diet, let me get on a tangent, I'm trying not to. But when you think about keto, the way that keto was started was a guy was as a scientist looking at kids with seizures, right? So the brain would overact, and they found when they gave them high fat diets and they took away carbs and they took away sugars and they gave them high fats, they actually healed the brain and they stopped having seizures. So you think about this, when you're eating high, good, healthy fats, you literally are fueling your brain. So make sure you're getting good, healthy fats. Another myth. Meat causes heart disease, cancer, and diabetes, and anybody heard that? Too much red meat can cause these things? You guys heard that before? Another myth. I want to see the study. I want to see where they're saying this, because here's my bet. My bet is that the studies they did to say this, they were using conventional farm-raised processed meats, not whole pasture-raised grass-fed beef. They weren't using cows that are roaming in nature, eating what they're supposed to. They're probably eating things that were stuck in a farm in a little cell. Does that make sense? Because the quality of the food you eat is going to be the quality in which it will serve your body. I'll say that one more time. The quality of the food that you buy will be the quality in which it will serve your body. Okay? Think about this as that the reason why you spend the money on grass-fed meat is because of the source that you're getting it from and what that's going to do to your body. The biggest thing is, again, you go back to conventional meats. So what they found is that there are like super bugs, okay, in different meats, and this is what kind of gets people sick. There is around 26 to 30% super bugs found in conventional meats. There was 5% in grass-fed beefs, and nature raised. Think about this. In nature, okay, if you were just to go and find a cow in nature, what is it supposed to eat? Grass, right? Do you guys know how many stomachs a cow has? Four stomachs, right? Because it's meant to process grass. What happens when you go into a farm and you see cows that are fed lots of grain? What does that do to them?
Makes them fat.
Makes them fat. So what do you think happens to us when we eat lots of grain?
Makes us fat.
Bloats us up, makes us fat, right? Like, you think, like, what are we designed to eat in nature? We stick to those rules. So when you look at some of this stuff, one of the things you want to go back to is if you had to change somewhere, I always say you change your protein first. You change this first because there are going to be like significant more harm coming from the hormones they're injecting in animals and the antibiotics that are getting injected in animals. There's so much that can be, put inside the meat. There's a certain omega ratio that you want in your body, okay? Omega-3, omega-6, these are healthy fat ratios. You want to have a 1-to-1 ratio, ideally. Do you guys know the ratio of a conventional farm-raised, like a conventional, farm-raised cow? It's 50 to 1. It's insane. What that means is that there's that much more omega-6s in that animal. What that means is that when you go to the supermarket and you say, here's a ribeye that's $4, and here's a ribeye that's $20, and you're like, I'm gonna buy the $4 ribeye. What you're also doing is also ingesting significant more inflammation and hormones, and all of the junk that cow ate is now going in your body. Why do you pay the extra 16 bucks? Because the amount that it's gonna fuel your body and the amount of healthy fats you're gonna be fueling your body. You can literally get healthy fats from grass-fed cows. So when you're changing some of that stuff, you wanna go to grass-raised beef, free-range chickens, not cage-free. Cage-free means nothing. All that means is that they're not bulked in a cage, but they're still enclosed. So you want free-range, right? Free-range chicken. That also goes for eggs, same thing. You want free-range. We want wild-caught fish, and you want your dairy to be from a natural source. Okay, these are like fundamental things that are super important when it comes to changing around your meats. Like I personally, if it was a financial thing and I had to choose, I would spend more money on healthy raised beef and then buy conventional vegetables. Just because of the risk to benefit ratio, I would definitely put my money there. And if you guys want, if you can, obviously, you're good. But if you guys have questions about where to get good source meats and stuff like that, come talk to us afterwards. we have some options, and you can tell you what we do and go from there. Cool. This is a fun study they did. I know. Who's seen this before? Anybody? Probably seen it from us. So what they did was they put reduced fat margarine and natural whole butter inside a dish, and then they let the ants go to work. And
You guys can actually try this.
it's so funny. Even they know which one's better. This is insane. Like even they know that that's disgusting and that'll make them sick. So it's just, I mean, it's so funny to see some of the stuff in nature. Okay.
There was a guy that did a show on TV a long time ago about all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, he was like a comedian on top of it. He goes, yeah, if you're eating margarine, you might as well just mainline Elmer's glue.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
That's a good
you're not far off. It's I go to my family's house still over the holidays, and they still have big tubs of margarine. And I said, well, what is this? And they're like, we didn't think you were going to see it. And I was like, hey, do me a favor. I need you to get rid of this ASAP. And don't give it to your neighbor because it's not good for them either. Like, don't give it to them. Don't give it to anybody. Throw it in the garbage.
People are stuck in that mindset,
Yeah.
right? Where fat is bad for you. Like,
Yeah.
even his uncle won't eat an avocado because there's too much fat in
Oh my
it.
God.
But then he'll have margarine, right? Like, it's just so backwards.
Yeah.
So, people just don't know. They've been trained that way.
Yeah. It's but the moment you can start to like understand how this works with the body, again, it all goes back to once you understand how the body works and how the body breaks this stuff down, you're like, oh my God, this makes so much sense.
And it's great because fat tastes amazing.
It does. I love fat.
It feels loved.
Come on. Here's the next one. Who has heard this? Cholesterol causes heart disease. Oh, okay. This one hits home for me, so if I go crazy, I apologize. I'm gonna do my best here. Hold this one real quick. Okay. So, my marker. I'm gonna show you guys a visual of how this makes sense. Can the phone actually see the whiteboard? I don't know. Can? Yeah. Okay, good. So I'm gonna show you guys how this makes sense. So, and just so you guys know, my family, like, I probably eat 4 eggs a day. Okay? Like, eggs are the most amazing thing for your body. It's like such a perfect balance of proteins and healthy fats. When it comes to cholesterol is not bad for you. The oxidation of cholesterol is bad for you. Okay? I'm gonna explain this for you. This is gonna blow you guys' minds. So, when it comes to, they say it causes heart disease. Okay, so I'm gonna draw. This is an artery, okay, in your body. Now, here's what happens. When you eat sugar and inflammatory things like, so we should talk about grains and stuff that turn into sugar, okay? The reason it's inflammatory is because if you look at the molecule of sugar under a microscope, it literally looks like this big, jagged, like ball with spikes, okay? So what happens is that the more sugar you ingest, that goes inside your bloodstream. What that literally does is that goes in and that starts to cut away at parts along the interior wall of your artery. Well, here's what the body does. Did you know that the primary repair of your body is cholesterol? The moment that there's an injury to the body sends cholesterol to go and repair something. So here's what happens. You eat a donut this morning for breakfast, turns into sugar, goes in, starts to cut away at some of the arteries. So what the body does, it sends cholesterol in to go repair it. So cholesterol comes in, tries to repair this, and then here's what happens is that we don't eat one donut, right? God forbid. So we have it some more. So we have more sugar. So what happens is we come back in, and this gets cut open again, and then it gets repaired, and then it gets cut open again. So there's this constant thing, like she said, breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner. You guys see the pattern of sugar, 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 inflammation, inflammation, inflammation. So every meal you're feeding your body inflammation. So what happens given enough time is that this is going in, this is cutting away, and cholesterol is trying to repair. We're cutting away, trying to repair, and eventually, what starts to happen to the artery? It's not cholesterol's fault. Cholesterol is trying to help your body to repair all the damage that you keep eating. The problem comes in that the more we keep feeding the damage, the more fire, the more like, the more gas you put on the fire, the bigger it's gonna get. So the problem is if you keep fueling your body with inflammatory foods and processed things and McDonald's and all this stuff, this is what's gonna start to block this, your body is trying to do the right thing by repairing it, but if I keep injuring it, this starts to come in this way. Then what happens is the doctors go in and all they see is all this cholesterol sitting here and they go, oh, you have high cholesterol. So we should put you on a cholesterol pill to reduce your cholesterol. So here's what happens. What do you think happens to somebody who goes in, eats sugar and inflammatory things, and now I put you on a pill to reduce your cholesterol? Now the cholesterol can't go and repair it. Now what do you think is going to happen to those arteries over time? You guys follow me? This is why a pill is not the solution. The solution is you don't refuel the fire with more damaged things. The cholesterol isn't the issue. The pill isn't the solution. We have to get back to basics of food and make sure we're not fueling our body with all the damage. Does that help?
There's actually more deaths in people that have low cholesterol than high cholesterol. So like people think high cholesterol is like such a bad thing. They've actually been lowering the number of what's considered high cholesterol as well, like throughout the years. So more and more people are being diagnosed with high cholesterol. So more and more people are being put on these high cholesterol medication. What's it called?
Crestor, Lipitor,
yeah, Lipitor,
all that stuff.
Very, very common.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go into toxins next. So I know if you guys have been to some of our talks in the past, we've talked a lot about the different toxins in our environment, from our cookware to our like household products to our bathroom products to the little, you know, scents or the little Christmas tree in your car, right? Oh, that's really bad for you. Lots of toxins. The purpose of this talk, we're just going to talk about toxins that are found in our food. So a lot of things like GMOs, you've heard of those, genetically modified. So these things are created in a lab that our bodies do not know how to break down, and they're very detrimental. We call it frankenfood. It's not real food. Pesticides, dangerous additives, and then hormones and antibiotics that are added to our produce. And so one of the things with that, buying organic produce is huge. So a lot of crops are heavily sprayed. Conventional crops are heavily sprayed with pesticides. And if we're eating those foods, then we're also consuming those pesticides as well. A lot of the things are also neurotoxins, so they can pass the blood-brain barrier, like Dr. Mike was saying, and it can cause a lot of other issues. Unfortunately, these food companies are targeting who? You guys know? Yeah, our kids, right? So everything's bright, red, yellow, green, purple, like all these colors that are characters, yep. All these things that like food shouldn't look like that. That's not actual food, right? And unfortunately, they're targeting our kids. So one of the biggest ways to help you guys avoid toxins is by reading labels. So when I talk about reading labels, I don't mean looking at like the percentage of sugars or fats or proteins or especially the calories, right? That stuff doesn't matter. You don't have to look at any of the numbers. Isn't that a relief? Like, I hate doing that. That's not like a good relationship you should have with food. Anyways, what you need to look at is on the other side, which is the ingredient list. So if you're gonna eat something that's processed, we always recommend, rule of thumb is just try to say like 5 ingredients or less, okay? And then being able to read the ingredients. Like, if you can't read an ingredient, your body probably doesn't know what it is and probably doesn't know how to break it down and digest it and use it for fuel. So that's awesome when it comes to label making or reading. I remember when I found that out, I was just so excited because counting calories is just never.
You guys know that a handful of almonds has the same calories as a Twinkie? Same calories, significant different nutrient, right?
What do you think your body like breaks down better, right? Obviously the almonds.
So we played a game, and I went to the store, and I picked up something, and then I turned it over. I blacked it out so you wouldn't know what it is. If you were to turn over the ingredient label to any food, would it make sense that just by seeing what's in it, you should know what it is? Is that pretty fair?
Yeah.
Can anybody tell me what this food is? Maybe 5 more seconds.
Pancake mix, cabbage sandwich or something.
Sandwich meat.
Go ahead. Pull it up.
Oh.
A ham and cheese croissant. So here's the thing, when I pull up and I look at the front of it and I see, oh look at, fresh and ready. This has gotta be good for you. I look up a ham and cheese croissant, I should see bread, ham, cheese, and it looks like lettuce. I don't even see lettuce in here. Like, that's what I should see when I'm looking. So I'm looking at this, right? We got green leaf. Green leaf. Look at it. It's like the 50th ingredient. So think about this, like when it comes to label reading, has anybody ever looked at the back of a Lunchable?
Oh.
If you really want to like throw up, go look at the back of a Lunchable, and I want you to count how many ingredients are in a kid's Lunchable. Yeah. If you find one less than like 70, let me know.
That's like a good example of one talking about when they're promoting to our children.
Oh my God.
And you wonder why there's so many kids that like can't sit still in class because they're ingesting these toxins, these chemicals that are actually called excitotoxins that like excite the nervous system, and they can't focus.
The problem
all of
is,
these
Then they're given a pill, ADHD.
I was just gonna say, the problem isn't that your kid has ADHD, it's that you're stuffing Skittles down his throat half a day, and then you wonder why he's jittery. Well, he's eating one of these. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I digress. Okay, we go on to supplements. So this is a big one, I think, a really important one to hit on when it comes to supplements, because 50 years ago, we didn't have to supplement. Like this wasn't a popular thing 50 years ago, right? Like my grandma didn't take protein powders and vitamin D. Like that wasn't a thing because the way we lived our life was outside, and it came, like the soil was pure. The things we grew our vegetables in, the way that we ate was pure. Everything now is, I mean, our soils and everything is just so depleted that even if you're eating whole vegetables, the problem is that the food that the soil is grown in is just bad. There's not a lot of nutrients in that soil. So here's the thing, we try our best, right, to buy the best meats we can, to buy the best vegetables we can, but we still supplement every single day because you can't get all the minerals and vitamins that you need from your food anymore. It's just not how it is these days. So when it comes to getting a full, well-balanced thing, you gotta be making sure you're supplementing with a good whole food source thing. So part of the reason why we sell supplements is because, number one, I know two things. Number one is that wherever you're gonna get a supplement, you have to make sure that it's an organic, whole food, clean source. I don't know if you guys remember a couple years ago, GNC and Walmart and I think Target, I could be wrong, but basically people went in and they went to go test the supplements to say, hey, listen, here's a vitamin D. It says that in one thing you have 5,000 IUs of vitamin D, but we're gonna test it. And on average, do you know how much vitamin D was actually in the pill?
None.
10%. Which means that 90% of the pill was actually a biofiller. So this is why, part of the reason why we sell supplements is that we actually went to the factory that tests these supplements. Anything that we sell with our label on it, we went to a factory where they put it in a machine and they tested it. And we saw that if you take one of our vitamin Ds and it says 5,000 IUs, guess what's in it? 5,000 IUs. Like, I don't put something on my shelf that I wouldn't put in my body or my family's body. Plain and simple, right? So I wouldn't promote anything to you that my family and I wouldn't take. So part of the things, where are we at next? Go to the next one, we skipped that one already. So, well, we talked about this, the deficiencies. Okay, part of one of the things that we do, so I used to have if you opened up my pantry in the past, I had like 1,000 bottles, I felt like, because I was like, I have so many vitamins to take, you know? Our company came out with this amazing thing about a year ago, and it's like literally been transformative for us. So a daily essential, this literally, I don't want to open this up, but there's literally like a little packet inside, and the majority of things that you are deficient in, that you need on a daily basis is inside every little packet. It makes it so simple. So inside one little packet, so my wife and I both, this is what we take every morning. We take one of these. So inside this, you're gonna get, so if it's a men's box, you're gonna get a men's multivitamin. If it's a women's, you're gonna get a women's multivitamin, okay? Also really important because everything is so depleted that you need a multivitamin. You just have to have one. So this comes in it, you get a multivitamin, you get a vitamin D, because How many of us are getting enough time in the sun? You guys know, like right now, we are so lucky. Half the world is frozen over. We have all the sunshine in the world, and yet we're not getting enough of it. That even to get an adequate amount of sunlight, you have to be, I think it's 50% exposed, like body skin exposed in the sun for, I think it's 45 minutes or more, right? How many of us are doing that every single day? Not enough. Oh, maybe, there you go. Look at that tan, see? Of course. But like, not enough of us, right? So we have to be supplementing with the vitamin D because vitamin D has so many immune functions, so many viral fighting functions. It's so good for us. And omega. Talk a lot about tonight about having good omegas. Omega-3s is what's going to be, it's the part of the healthy fats that's going to fuel your brain. It's an anti-inflammatory. So an omega comes in here. And then you have a magnesium. Again, we're so deficient in magnesium because our soils are so bad. So you get all of this in one little bag. I share this because this is like literally what I do every single day. So this is part of that. The other thing that I do every single day is I have a scoop of Max Greens inside. Again, I can have a massive salad and I can do all these things, but one bowl of spinach 50 years ago is equivalent to, I think, 30 bowls of spinach today. So part of the thing, we're so depleted. So part of one of the things that I do every morning is I have a smoothie, and in my smoothie, I throw a scoop of Max Greens. It has a ton of micronutrients inside here that gives you the stuff that you need. And for me, I'd rather do a scoop of this in my smoothie than eat 30 bowls of spinach. If you would rather do that, that's up to you. But this here, and then protein's another one that is a daily one for me. So in my smoothie, we throw a scoop of protein. Cool thing is we have a couple options for protein. And again, whether you get this from here or you get it from somewhere else, what I want you guys to remember is that if you're getting a whey protein, it has to be sustainably sourced grass-fed. And it has to make sure that you're not sweetening it with the processed sweeteners like sucralose. It's really hard to find a protein that doesn't have sucralose or some kind of bad sweetener inside of it, okay? We have two different options that are my favorite. We have wheys that are here. I don't do dairy. My body doesn't process dairy very well. So we also have a Pure Path protein that's a bone broth source. So there's no dairy involved in it. That's our favorite. So in our house, we do that. I have vanilla and a chocolate that we use. That's just a staple in my house. That's one of the things that we do all the time. So there's a couple other stuff that we can go through, but like those are like the main ones that I feel like this is what I do every single day with my family. So I want to share that with you guys. Okay, different eating plans.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take it first.
Go.
Okay, so core plan, advanced plan. Have you guys read the Align Health book? Part of it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So you guys have heard the core plan and advanced plan before. Core plan is basically, this is a really good one for like kids, or if you want to have like moderate weight loss, disease prevention, maintaining your health. And then advanced plan is if you have any type of disease process, need to balance your hormones, repair that, and decrease the inflammation, disease management. That's going to be advanced plan, or accelerate weight loss. That's a huge one too.
Easy way to like think of it is if you're at the weight that you're happy with, and don't have a disease process, the core plan is where you want to live on. If you want to lose weight or reverse a disease process, then I would go to the advanced plan. That's how I would simplify that down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And then, so the core plan is just in general, basics. So again, you're going to increase all of your healthy fats, get rid of all of the damaged fats. You want to obviously go towards like naturally raised animal proteins. You can have like healthy whole grain, ancient grains, sprouted grains are the best type of grains if you're going to have them, but again in moderation, not 3 or 4 times a day, maybe once or twice a week. And then fruits and vegetables, variety of fruits and vegetables. Advanced plan, you're going to completely eliminate all grains, all sugars, and then also increase your healthy fats, get rid of your damaged fats, go towards naturally raised animal products, and then you're also going to only stick to low sugar fruits and vegetables. Things like Granny Smith apples are approved on the advanced plan, and berries as well.
Earlier you guys said that it was said that you need 5 to 8 grains every day for health reasons, but don't eat it because it creates sugar, inflammation,
Yeah.
and so that was a myth. So what you do, or you?
So it's not something that you need for your body. It's okay to have in moderation. You also want to make sure like you're consuming a healthy type of grain. So not a processed bread that has added sugars in it, right? So it's okay to have
Like
every once in
Ezekiel
a while
bread
if
or
you
Super
don't.
Dave's or something like that?
What was that?
Is that Ezekiel bread or that Super Dave's
Ezekiel
bread?
bread. Yeah, that's a really good option. We'll get that sometimes if we want like a sandwich or something.
So here's, I think the biggest.
As long as you don't have a disease process.
Yeah, I think the biggest myth I hear from people is they say, well, if I don't have carbs, I'm not gonna have any energy for the day. Right? You guys probably heard that a little bit. And that's the fear people have is if I don't have my bread or if I don't have a rice or something, I'm not gonna have any energy. So when we kicked off the 45-day challenge at the beginning of the year, I went January 1st, since January 1st to basically now, like I haven't had a grain in 50-some days. And I go to the gym 6 days a week and I adjust all of you guys all day long. And I chase a 1-year-old around. Plenty of energy. Like it's a myth. If you put whole good foods in your body.
Yeah, or you look at like you guys remember like the food pyramid? And like the biggest one was the grains, right? Yeah, like that's not necessary. Grains aren't necessary at all for survival. But they're okay to have every once in a while if you're eating healthy ones. Awesome.
Next, go one more. Yeah, here you go. So speaking of that, sorry, this is a fun one that we actually put together. We were doing this last night. So we actually opened up our pantry, we opened up our fridge, and we said, what are the things that we have in our kitchen that we could share with people for like good swaps? So if you guys want a picture, you grab a picture. We're gonna talk this through, but
These are just some examples.
it means a few of them, yeah. So when it comes to soda, a switch for soda is Zevia. Okay, so Zevia is basically like you have it's like carbonated water with like a natural flavor and stevia. It literally tastes just like soda. It's pretty crazy. And they have all the different flavors. You have Coke, you have cream soda, you have Dr. Pepper. You have lots of different options. So if you're one of those people who are like, I just need something similar, it's a phenomenal like lateral shift, right? Simple Mills crackers. I could show you the about 50 boxes that we have in our pantry. We have every flavor that exists. But Simple Mills is a phenomenal brand. If you look, they never put anything artificial in their stuff. And most of that stuff I believe is almond flour based. So there's no grains in it. So when we want a cracker or if we need something like that, that's where we go.
They also bold their ingredient list, so
Yeah.
they're proud.
Yeah,
they're
it's
proud
huge,
of their
right?
ingredient list.
That's a good point.
It's usually very small. There's not a lot.
There's like 5 things.
Yes.
Where do you buy those things?
So you can go to Sprouts has them, or you can actually go Simple Mill. Yeah, Costco. Well, Costco just has like one big thing of the sea salt. Or you can actually just go to simplemills.com and you can kind of order whatever they have. So during the challenge, we cut out bread, obviously. Simple Mills makes an artesian bread, and it's an almond flour based bread that you can like make. So we made them into like little bread rolls, and I thought I was eating bread, but I was just eating this almond flour like thing. But I curbed my mental thing for bread, right? So you can do stuff like that.
Can you have those on the advanced plan? Or
Yeah, it's just almond flour. Yeah, I mean, it depends what you put on it.
Right. Just can't put jam on it.
I was gonna say.
But you can put butter.
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 Yeah. See, like I don't do butter because I can't do dairy, so I just slap some coconut oil on there, and it's so good, so good. Paleo Puffs. This is so funny. So our son he'll eat like a whole bag to himself. But Paleo Puff, the brand is called Lesser Evil, and they make Paleo Puffs, which are basically like healthy Cheetos is essentially how you can think of it. And they have different flavors. They have Himalayan salt, they have cheddar that doesn't actually have cheese. They have lots of different things in there that you can use, and they're really, really good. Paleo Puffs, the keto bars that we have here in the office, if you haven't had them, they're phenomenal. They're made with allulose syrup, which means it's a type of sweetener that your body doesn't go crazy with and doesn't spike your metabolism and doesn't spike your blood sugar. So you have a keto bar, and it's called keto bar for a reason. Like it keeps you in ketosis. Right? So that's a good snack. Cocoa Immune bars are like your dessert. It's like the healthiest version of an Almond Joy. Pretty phenomenal. It's like literally coconut meat wrapped in like dark chocolate. Pretty phenomenal. So check those out in the front. And then switches for milk. So dairies, you can do coconut milks, you can do almond milks, you can do macadamia milk. We have macadamia milk we're trying. It's freaking awesome. There's other alternatives to doing dairy if you want to avoid dairy, so those are really good. Ultima. So a lot of people are asking us about like, what do you do for electrolytes? Not Gatorade. Okay. So a switch for getting good electrolytes in your body is a brand called Ultima. Again, you can get that at Sprouts, or you can go to the Ultima website and go order like the bigger bulk of it. So Ultima is a really good switch. They have tons of flavors, and it's sweetened with stevia, so it's a good healthy version of that. For coffee creamer, there's a brand called Califia Farms. When it comes to coffee creamer, if you're getting, again, you can either do, if you're doing dairy, you can do whole fat cream, which is good for your body, right? You can do whole fat organic cream, or you can do this one, which is a coconut almond based. So if it's non-dairy, but there's no, I think they use monk fruit to sweeten it, so it's still healthy. So you can use this one, better half. Birch Benders, this has been another fun thing for us. So Birch Benders makes paleo, or they make pancake mixes, they make waffles, they make a bunch of those kinds of things, but they use healthier ingredients, so there's no grains in it. So this one, I think is made from like a coconut almond based. So you can do pancakes and waffles and those kinds of fun things. So again, eating healthy doesn't have to mean you're gonna give up this stuff forever. Like there's still healthy versions of that stuff. You just gotta switch, you don't give it up, you just lateral shift to the healthier, more natural ingredients, right? Ezekiel bread we talked about, right? It's a sprouted bread. You're gonna find it in the fridge section in the grocery store. So you wanna look for Ezekiel bread. Siete, they do a lot of almond and cassava flour base. They do tortillas. If you're in our 45-day group, I shared the tortillas. Instead of making sandwiches now with bread, I just do a wrap in an almond flour tortilla. Super easy. And they make a bunch of different options. They do chips, like tortilla chips that are all cassava based and stuff like that. Good options. They have really clean ingredients. Their tortilla chips are actually made with avocado oil. So you know that even though they were baked, it's a high temperature oil so that they're still healthy and clean. Pretty cool stuff. And then last one we put on here is a Primal Kitchen. Primal Kitchen is a brand that you would look for, and they make things like mayonnaise and salad dressings and ketchups and that kind of stuff, like condiments and all that. But a lot of it is all paleo based, it's all Whole30 based. So if you look up Primal Kitchen, you're gonna find lots of different options for salad dressings and those kinds of things, and it's gonna be super healthy. So make sure you stick there. Cool? Is there anything that I missed that you should go? Did I cover everything? Good? Yes?
What do you do for yogurt?
Oh, good. I shared this inside the 45-day challenge too. So again, for somebody who doesn't do dairy, there's a brand called Kite Hill, K-I-T Hill. It's an almond flour yogurt, but sometimes when you do non-dairies, it's like watery and soupy. It's gross. Kite Hill is a thick, creamy yogurt, and it's an almond flour base, and they do it where it's plain. So you can get a plain one that has no added junk in it, and it's just
The biggest thing
really
with yogurts you have to be careful with is the added sweeteners. So a lot of them are going to have added sugar in them. What we like to do is get you want to get like a full fat yogurt with no sweetener, and then you can add in things like berries, or we actually put the protein in our yogurt too to sweeten it up a little bit, like the bone broth protein. Add in kind of like your own sweeteners.
For those of you guys who aren't in the 45-day challenge group, I'll share with you guys my night snack, or sometimes I'll even eat this as a meal. I'll do a yogurt bowl, and my yogurt bowl is the Kite Hill yogurt, and then I'll cut up a Granny Smith apple. I'll do a scoop of the chocolate protein powder. I'll do a scoop of the Max Greens. I'm getting greens in my yogurt. I don't even tell, it's chocolate. So I'm getting that inside the yogurt. I'm also putting in some fresh blueberries or strawberries. And then there's also a grain-free granola, right? I think it's called Elizabeth's is the brand.
Purely Elizabeth.
Purely Elizabeth is the brand. They make a grain-free granola that's super healthy, doesn't have a bunch of junk in it. I throw a little bit of granola on the top of it, and it will blow your mind. And it has tons of healthy fats and good stuff. Yeah.
Our son will eat it.
Oh my God, yeah. Devours it. Cool?
Yep.
All right, take this. Okay. I want to close on this one thing. Is that everybody here? Obviously, you guys are getting adjusted. Here's the thing you have to remember, and I talk about this a lot. is that a lot of people ask, how is it, Dr. Mike, that my digestive system started to function better before I even made any nutritional changes? It goes back to, well, if the nerves that go to your gut are blocked, does it make sense that your gut would not function as well? The moment that you get adjusted and we clear up that communication to your gut through the nerves, the gut is designed to function and heal better. So imagine what life would be like if you had a blocked nerve going to your gut and you were spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on good, healthy food. Wouldn't that make you upset? You guys probably have neighbors or friends and people who don't understand this, right? They don't know this stuff, and they're putting lots of money into good supplements and into food, and they're not seeing a good result because they probably have a misalignment that's cutting off the signal to their gut, and they're wondering, I'm changing all of this stuff, why is it not making it better? And it goes right back down to the same thing. If I put my foot on a hose, I can put thousands of dollars in Miracle Grow and the best nutrients for that soil, but would it make sense that the flower would still not survive? You guys with me? This is why we tell our friends and family, the people who aren't getting adjusted and the people who probably should know this, yeah? We tell them, hey, listen, changing those things is phenomenal. Let me teach you what I've learned about nutrition. Let me show you how we should be eating. But a big piece of this is making sure that the messages from your brain are actually being able to tell your gut how to digest, how to function, how to process this, how to assimilate those nutrients so that you can get every bang for the buck that you're putting inside your body. Because that makes sense. Like, I want all of you guys to go home and make these changes. You guys are going to see a significant difference because you're also getting adjusted to open up the nerve signals, okay? What I want you to know is that if you guys haven't seen it, a week from today, here in the office, we're doing a dinner event, okay? I come from a big Italian family, so for me, this is like a Sunday night at my house, okay? But for me, one of the best things is that when you can take somebody and you invite them in and all of a sudden they get to experience the same amazing changes that you guys got to experience, like, that's phenomenal, right? Like, one of the things that we do for this dinner is there's people that you probably know that are close to you, but they're far from being healthy. Is that fair? The purpose of this dinner is that my team and I are literally gonna open this office up at night, 6:30 on next Wednesday. And if you've ever been to Cherish, it's down the road. It's a farm fresh place that does all organic, grass-fed, clean food. We're literally catering dinner for the people that you know that should know this. And for me, the biggest thing that this comes down to is this: the more people that we can help start living a more congruently healthy life, the more people that we can help to start making the right choices. I talked to somebody today, she come in, she's at the very end, right, of the shift, and she goes, man, you guys are so busy, this is great. And I said, I won't be happy until my line in this office is bigger than the line at McDonald's.
That's a good goal. I like that.
Like, if the line at McDonald's is bigger than the line in this office of people getting healthy, then we still have work to do. So this dinner is that's literally what this is about. You guys help me to help people to understand this. If there's people that you know, we just need to know by Friday because we're gonna order the amount of food. You tell us, give us, hey, I'm gonna bring 2 people, 4 people, 5 people. I had one woman a couple months ago, she literally brought 7 people to this dinner. And we fed everybody, they got to hear what we get to do, and they have an opportunity to come in and make a change. Is that fair? So if there's people that you know that need to know this, help us to share this. And then what we're gonna do is next Wednesday night, that's literally what it is. There's gonna be a bunch of tables, a bunch of organic, good, fresh foods, and we're gonna sit up here and teach them exactly why all of this makes sense and why they should be doing this a little bit different. Cool? If you guys have any other questions about tonight, about anything we talked about, as always, we're gonna hang out up here for a little bit longer and answer questions about if it's meats, if it's whatever it is. Come talk to us. I love you guys. You're amazing. I appreciate you.